10th live dedicated to the bestseller of Ayn Rand. I'll be reading quotes and I'll be sharing my thoughts. And I'll be giving you some context regarding Ayn Rand's philosophy, the philosophy of objectivism, all right? So, page 346. You see, Dr. Stadler, people don't want to think. And the deeper they get into trouble, the less they want to think. But by some sort of instinct, they feel that they ought to, and it makes them feel guilty. So they'll bless and follow anyone who gives them a justification for not thinking. Anyone who makes a virtue, a highly intellectual virtue, out of what they know to be their sin, their weakness, and their guilt. This is the philosophy of the destroyers, we could call them. This is not how a rational human being thinks, yeah? We all have these moments throughout the day when our mind gets a little blurry, right? You cannot think in a very sharp focus all the time, depending on the state of your hardware, your body, and your software, your mind. These moments can happen, but how to treat them? What to make of them? Like, should you seek to get more irrational? Should you renounce thinking? Or should you just, whenever you feel you catch yourself, should you go back to reasoning and thinking as a rational human being? So basically, that's your choice. Yes, you should choose between renouncing thinking, between debilitating or making thinking weaker in your system, or you know. Just like, at the gym, we build muscle, like building your intellectual and mental muscles. That's your choice. And those who want to control you, and the speaker, this guy, is one of those people who want to control others. So his philosophy is about convincing others that thinking isn't good. You shouldn't think. I will think instead of you. This is their philosophy, okay? So this line is very interesting. Anyone who makes a virtue, a highly intellectual virtue, out of what they know to be their sin, their weakness, and their guilt. And their sin is that they are not thinking. Yeah? In the universe of Ayn Rand, not to think for yourself is a terrible sin, because others will do that instead of you. Others will. Hi, Dao VR. Hey there, what's up? Edgar says 5 push-ups or 5 sit-ups. Yeah, you can do that, Edgar. Yeah. Yeah, they will try to convince you that thinking shouldn't be, something that you must be interested in. YouTube, guys, if you love Ayn Rand and you understand the value of Atlas Shrugged, or if you like this live, give me thumbs up. And people on TikTok, you can just tap on the screen, okay? Again, we are reading Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged, an all-time bestseller. Next quote is from page 348. Okay. Those bastards seem to be vanishing somewhere. Something will have to be done about it. The speaker is, again, the same person, an intellectual, quote unquote, in the bad sense, who speaks of business people, like real, honest business people, who choose not to reinforce their civilization, basically. In the book, we have this left-wing collectivist government, which uh, tries to basically punish ability. Like they say, if you're a good businessman, you can pay more to the state, you should take care of smaller businesses, you should serve others more because you have ability. So do you like VR? Well, I don't know, I'm not that into VR, the Tabor. So they punish ability. They hate talented people who are able to solve problems, take care of themselves. And in the novel Atlas Shrugged, the business people are refusing, like the smartest, the most intelligent ones, are refusing to serve this collectivist state, and they vanish somewhere. And the government, this left-wing collectivist government, doesn't know where they are vanishing. By the way, in objectivism, the problem is collectivism itself. It can be right-wing collectivism, it can be left-wing collectivism. Both are bad from the perspective of objectivism. In the philosophy of objectivism, it is individualism versus collectivism. So individualism is good, like when the individual is respected and the individual is not regarded as a sacrificial animal, that's good. That's the philosophy of objectivism, okay? And whoever the collectivist is, for whatever reason they are interested in making the person a slave, that's bad. It can be for the sake of the nation, of the church, of the working class, of women, of LGBT people, makes no difference. If you want to limit the rights of the individuals for the sake of any group, ethnic group, religious group, racial group, or professional group, sexual group, makes no difference. You are on the wrong side. Yeah. So this is their attitude. Something will have to be done about it. They don't want the talents to vanish, to disappear. They want to milk those wealthy businessmen. They want to exploit the talented for being talented. And that's so wrong. And these scientists are, talking about this. And in real life, both in the right wing and on the left wing, you have people like that, yeah? People who want to make smart individuals work on them, but they want those smart individuals to obey them. Like in Russia, for instance, it's a right-wing collectivist state, yeah, very radical. You, as an individual, will have to obey the dictator, Putin, or Putler, and you will have to be silent about your views on human rights, equality, etc. And in some socialist, in left-wing collectivist settings, you will have to obey the general rule and be silent, like in Europe, in the UK, for instance, and in France. When you complain about some expressions of racism, like when it comes from some minority groups, like the Pakistanis, you might be visited by the police, which happens regularly in the UK, in Germany, and they may tell you to just shut up, because you, with your complaints, when you expose the racism of those minorities, you are raising tensions in the society. So that's the other extreme, yeah, that's left-wing collectivism. So both forms of collectivism are ugly, and both forms of collectivism require the individual to obey, to remain silent, and not to question things, yeah, to just go with the flow of the collective. Next, page 349. It had lasted less than 6 months after Alice Wyatt had gone, that period which a columnist had gleefully called, quote, the field day of the little fellow, unquote. Every oil operator in the country who owned 3 wells and whined that Alice Wyatt left him no chance of livelihood had rushed to fill the hole which Wyatt had left wide open. They formed leagues, cooperatives, associations. They pooled their resources and their heads. Quote, the little fellow's day in the sun, unquote, the columnist had said. Their sun had been the flames that twisted through the derricks of Wyatt Oil. In its glare, they made the kind of fortunes they had dreamed about, fortunes requiring no competence or effort. Then their biggest customers, such as power companies, who drank oil by the trainful and would make no allowances for human frailty, began to convert to coal, and the smaller customers, who were more tolerant, began to go out of business. The boys in Washington imposed rationing on oil and an emergency tax on employers to support the unemployed oil field workers. Then a few of the big oil companies closed down. Then the little fellows in the sun discovered that a drilling bit which had cost $100 now cost them $500. There being no market for oil field equipment, and the suppliers having to earn on one drill what they had earned on 5, or perish. Then the pipelines began to close, there being no one able to pay for their upkeep. Then the railroads were granted permission to raise their freight rates, there being little oil to carry, and the cost of running tank trains having crushed 2 small lines out of existence. And when the sun went down, they saw that the operating costs, which had once permitted them to exist on their 60-acre fields, had been made possible by the miles of Wyatt's hillside and had gone in the same coils of smoke. Not until their fortunes had vanished and their pumps had stopped did the little fellows realize that no business in the country could afford to buy oil at the price it would now take them to produce it. This passage, oh, thank you for 1 thumbs up on YouTube. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I encourage others on YouTube to give me thumbs up as well. And TikTok, you can tap on the screen, okay? TikTok gifts are also welcome. Now, this passage is beautiful. Ayn Rand knows how to describe psychology, economy, love relationships. So here I decided to read this passage because it clearly shows how collectivism and bureaucracy destroy destroy businesses because of the way they operate. Hey there. Okay. Yeah, because of the way they operate. Okay. First, they hated this big guy, Alice Wyatt, who produced a lot of oil. He owned a lot. And they thought that if this guy goes out of business, then we'll be good. You know, this was their approach. And then they were happy. This reporter was speaking of the little fellows day in the sun. So they think that the big fellows, the big businesses are a hindrance, right? And they bought all the land and all the property of Wyatt, who also went missing, right? And then slowly things began to fail, right? As there was no big business who would order a lot of equipment, prices for the equipment rose and the need for the equipment fell down because those small corporations couldn't afford that much. So the business for equipment production went down, right? And then the pipelines began to close, there being no one able to pay for their upkeep, yeah, because you have to pay for those pipelines. So a lot of collectivists hate big businesses, big corporations, but they do not understand how they work and the benefits they are offering. And so this is a very nice passage, and Ayn Rand, like in her book Atlas Shrugged, she has many useful and practical passages where she shows how collectivism destroys private business, actually. At first, and when they speak, it's all about care, love, equality, and then in practice, that equality and the fact that they are defending the incompetence is destroying businesses. And by the way, in the book, we also have some very big businesses that are run by dishonest people. So Ayn Rand is not just an advocate for the big business. You have villains in the book that are very powerful and very big business guys who have also political power in Washington. So you should read the book in order to better understand the philosophy of objectivism, Ayn Rand's philosophy, okay? And you shouldn't just rely on that criticism of Ayn Rand and her literary and philosophical heritage that comes from people who know very little of her works, okay? Next, page 351. On the balance sheets of Taggart Transcontinental, the checks of Jim's subsidies for empty trains bore larger figures than the profit brought by the best freight train of the business' busiest industrial division. Jim boasted that this had been the most prosperous 6 months in Taggart history. Listed as profit on the glossy pages of his report to the stockholders was the money he had not earned, the subsidies for empty trains, and the money he did not own, the sums that should have gone to pay the interest and the retirement of Taggart bonds. The debt which, by the will of Wesley Mauch, he had been permitted not to pay. He boasted about the greater volume of freight carried by Taggart trains in Arizona, etc. So this is one of those villains, a very rich and powerful guy who is not an honest business person, who just destroys the property of others to make himself a fortune. And he is the brother of the one of the main characters, Dagny Taggart, who is a vice president in the same company. So yeah, Ayn Rand criticizes dishonest business people as well, those who do not earn their wealth through honest means, and this is also in the book. Then, page 352. Okay. Yes, directives. Okay, in this context, there were 3 questions that no one answered or asked. Oh yeah, okay, I'll give you the total context. Nobody professed to understand the question of the frozen railroad bonds, perhaps because everybody understood it too well. At first, there had been signs of a panic among the bondholders and of a dangerous indignation among the public. Then, Wesley Mauch had issued another directive, which ruled that people could get their bonds defrozen, quote-unquote, upon a plea of essential need, quote-unquote. The government would purchase the bonds if it found the proof of the need satisfactory. There were 3 questions that no one answered or asked. What constituted proof? What constituted need? Essential to whom? And I love Ayn Rand because of these small details. Yeah, hey, waiver. TikTok says you joined. You can tap on the screen if you'd like to. We are reading Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged, a bestseller for decades now. This has remained a best-selling book. Now, when governments, or in general, this is about reason and logic and understanding. And I love the philosophy of objectivism and Ayn Rand's mind, because she is so insistent on asking those very, very basic, very essential questions. Again, the questions: what constituted proof? Like, they can make those laws, and sometimes laws are made manipulative. Like, if you deal with dishonest governments who want to manipulate you, they will make subjective laws instead of striving to make objective laws. They will sometimes do it on purpose to later manipulate laws the way they want to manipulate them. And I'll be back. I'll just grab a cup of water, okay? Here I am. A lot on his mind. Yes, Jake. Well, this is very interesting. No, I love Samsung and Android system. You just turn off the call and the live continues, but iOS needs some time to get back to it. Stupid. Okay, I might not purchase another iOS device in the future. Okay, what constituted need and essential to whom? These terms could be used by government, and they may not care to, or they may do it on purpose so that they could interpret those terms the way they would like to, you know? Next, but in life and in social life, in politics, you know, those things are so important. When people say very dramatic or very generalist things like nothing is true, who says that? And when you say nothing is true, doesn't that mean that what you're saying is also not true? Yeah. So, you know, when you think logically, you have to ask these questions. Or when people say, we need this, who we? Everybody? Or you're speaking on behalf of whom? You know? And sometimes people will say, it is national emergency, or it is for the need of the country. Again, who says that? Based on what? And it is of need to whom? Often there are so many assumptions, you know, and sometimes it's done on purpose to make those things very blurry, very ambiguous, in order to manipulate and justify. It's done by the right-wing collectivists and by the left-wing collectivists as well. Page 353. You know, Miss Taggart, I don't think that such a mother could ever be made, even if somebody did learn how to make it. It would be so superior to anything we've got that it would be unfair to lesser scientists, because it would leave no field for their achievements and abilities. I don't think that the strong should have the right to wound the self-esteem of the weak. And what was the response of Miss Taggart? She had ordered him out of the office. of her office and had sat in incredulous horror before the fact that the most vicious statement she had ever heard had been uttered in a tone of moral righteousness. But this is how the collectivists think, you know? And a little reminder, we are reading Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. You can give me thumbs up on YouTube and you can tap on the screen on TikTok, okay? So just, this is monstrous, but a lot of people think this way. And some of DEI, diversity, equality, inclusion, is about this. When you stop the talented, you stop the able, saying others need to have a chance too. Elon Musk, like with his SpaceX, there were some empty slots that were for the rocket launches, and some Democratic representatives voted to not allow him to use those empty spaces because they said that they argued that he was becoming an oligarch, a monopolist, and others should be given a chance too, but there were no others in this case. So that monstrous mindset is just walking across the planet. Me, as an LGBT activist, when I was very active in my home country, the Republic of Armenia, I was told by some very young, inexperienced, collectivist, left-wing feminist girls, once at least, well, I think it at least twice, those who have loud voices should be silent so that our voices are heard too. That's so stupid. Like me, as an LGBT activist who was providing training sessions for the youth, for the journalists, etc., who was very active, who created one of the very first blogs on sexuality in his native tongue, in Armenian. I should have remained silent so that her voice, she was 20 something, I think, and I was much older. But maybe 6 to 8 years of difference. But intellectually, the difference was, you know, much bigger. But that approach is so monstrous. It's so wrong, but it's there. In the right wing, in the left wing, it's just there. They sometimes think that in order for them to prosper, those who are more talented, who are more outspoken, who do more, need to step back. It's a scarcity mindset. They think that there is something limited, like a limited spot, and you have to be there in order to be seen, to be visible, to be validated, and you have to push someone else outside of that spot in order to stand there on your own, which is like very stupid. Especially like that girl, yeah, those feminist girls, they could have started their own blogs, they could have spoken on social media, they could have organized their own meetings, etc. But they were criticizing me, saying that I should have been more silent for their voices to be heard. That's so stupid. That's just scarcity mindset. It's just a lack of understanding of how things work, even in terms of marketing, in terms of activism, and it's just lamentable, you know, it's just so sad. But we have what we have. Okay, last one. Page 354. A train has the two great attributes of life, she thought, motion and purpose. This had been like a living entity, but now it was only a number of dead freight cars and engines. Don't give yourself time to feel, she thought. Dismember the carcass as fast as possible. The engines are needed all over the system. Kendenegar in Pennsylvania needs trains, more trains, if only. So the first sentence, it's very interesting. A train has the two great attributes of life, she thought, motion and purpose. So, motion, movement, yeah, when things move, when things are in movement, and purpose, like you are in movement for what? For what sake? For what purpose? This is very profound, very interesting, you know? Um, like we know that even this cup, like the molecules, the atoms, are in constant motion, right? Our planet is rotating, the sun is in motion too. So whatever is alive has to flow, has to be in motion. And the other important part is there should be some sense of purpose. You are moving for the sake of what? Very interesting, very philosophical, very profound. And a lot of philosophies are trying to deny those facts. They, first of all, deny uh, the existence of purpose. They say, no, it's just on its own, or it's for no purpose, or sometimes they will try to give very abstract, very mystical explanations. It's for the sake of God, yeah? The purpose is to serve God or to serve some other human being. So sometimes the question, the issue of purpose is addressed in a, on the basis of faith. You have to believe that it's altruism and it's for some higher purpose. But as a rational human being and as an individual, you must ask yourself, is that so? Just like with the three questions I read earlier, right? Who says so? It is needed for whom and what constitutes a need? You know, a rational human being cannot evade those questions. And the more you rely on blind faith, be it religious or political or of some other sort, the more vulnerable and zombie-like you make yourself, the more you give up your ability to think and control and build your life, and the more you give away that property, that ability to someone else who will, of course, manipulate you religiously, politically, or otherwise. Okay? So that's it for today. I will try to connect to someone on TikTok. Let's see if we could have some interesting exchange. A few more minutes. And that will be it for today. Okay, those folks are not joining me. I should try another one. And this one as well. Let's see if this other guy. Yeah, TikTok is kinda dead. Let's try Lexi. Okay. Hey there. So my life is about philosophy. I was reading a book. Do you know Ayn Rand? Atlas Shrugged. Have you heard of it?
One day it's back to normal. What's that about?
The novel is about many things: politics, economy, psychology. So overall, it's very interesting for individualists, like people who are about reason, freedom, you know, that kind of mindset. So, how are you interested in discussing those topics? Should we talk about philosophy?
We don't talk about politics around here too much.
Philosophy?
Thank you, my friend.
Okay, no philosophy either. Those folks are afraid. Like, okay, not politics. We could talk about philosophy. But no, they are afraid. Okay. Yeah, I gave it a try. Sad that YouTube doesn't have this function that you could, bring people up and you could have a conversation. Would be interesting, would be more interesting. So much fear in people. They
See what gang talking about.
are about fear.
What's good, gang?
Hi there. My life is about philosophy. Have you heard of Ayn
Hey, man, you
Rand?
talking about Johnny?
Do you know Atlas Shrugged? You interested in that?
No.
Okay, how about... Okay, the other one as well. So you are not interested in that, right? Aiden.
Nope.
Okay, then I will disconnect. Bye-bye. No, yeah, it's hard to find intelligence online and intellect. Oh, they want to talk about girls and stuff like that. That's boring to me. So, yeah, it's hard. But I will continue. Yes, I will try.
Get your bald ass off my live. Go ahead. Just exit this shit, because you bald as shit. What happened to you on top?
You're talking to me?
What happened to you on top, though?
Uh,
Now on your ass. What happened to you on top, though?
I don't even understand what you're saying, part of what you're saying. So, are you interested
What happened
in...
to your top of your fucking head?
Whatever is happening to my head is none of your business. You're just rude, and it shows that you have some issues with your own head. Attacking someone whom you don't know like that.
Big as shit.
That's crazy.
That's what I'm trying to understand.
No, your bullying shows how insecure and how empty you are. Yeah, you are bullying, and you're stupid. You're so stupid, like intellectually void. My life was about philosophy, by the way, but now I understand you have nothing to do about philosophy and logic and reason. So bye bye. Just bye bye. No, the quality, it's so low. I'm just asking myself, should I just continue trying? Gosh. Oh. That's so stupid.
What food you order, Silver?
Hi there.
So are you trying to battle?
We could, but I have 0 followers right now. My life is about philosophy and literature. Would you be interested in talking about philosophy? And
Yeah.
oh, cool. So
What's up, Blaze?
yeah. Have you heard of Atlas Shrugged? Do you know the novel?
What, can you say it again?
Atlas Shrugged.
Oh, somebody trying to battle me. Hey, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But can you please leave for me, bro? I'm trying to, somebody trying to battle me.
Yeah, okay. If you can, disconnect and find someone else for the battle. No problem. No problem.
Disconnect.
Lower left host thing. You click on that, and then there's this little on the top right. Yes. Okay. Okay. At least this other person was sort of respectful. Oh, the other one, he was so empty. So stupid. Okay. So no, I think that's it. I give it my best. Maybe if I try on different, like later during the day. I don't know, shall I try again? I don't want to just give up like this. Shiv. No, okay. That's it for today, I think. unfortunately, yes, it won't be easy to find some intellectual people on TikTok. And yeah, well, I'll see you guys next time, okay? Thank you for having been with me.